Peace, peace, beautiful beings, and welcome back to my channel. I am Coach V, and what I'm doing today is just sharing with you a little bit more insight as to how my spiritual journey led to me being able to take complete charge of my mental health without medication. Now, as I shared in my last video underneath this particular playlist of Conscious Queens on the Rise, I shared with you that I was searching as a young adult for something more, for something to help me heal, for something to help me view myself and the world in a better light. And so I left the religion that I was raised in for the second time after going back to seeing if that was the piece that I was missing. And I also shared in my last video that I researched what was the big deal about all these other religions. Why was it ingrained in me that they were all horrible and pagan and just all these things that I was taught being raised in a particular religion. And I found out that all religions have the underlying theme of love thy neighbor as yourself, or do unto others as you would have done unto you. And if you missed that video, I encourage you to go back in the playlist. It's about a 15-minute video, but it does explain a little bit more about what I just talked about. So continuing from that theme, as I also mentioned, when I first started to find that something extra that I was looking for, I was first taught about the power of the mind and how positive affirmations help you to transform harmful thoughts into healthy thoughts. I was told to read books by the greats Eckhart Tolle, Napoleon Hill, Le Chicken Soup for the Soul, learning how to influence people, win over people. Dale Carnegie was in the mix. And I started finding videos on YouTube that were either the audiobook versions, so I've read books more than once, and I start finding people like Dr. Wayne Dyer and Les Brown and Lisa Nichols, and I came across a video for The Secret. So I talked about all of this in my last video underneath this playlist, so I'm just recapping here. That is what started me on the journey of taking charge of my mental health. That's what started me with accepting the idea that I no longer have to be a victim to my circumstances. I no longer have to be a victim to my upbringing. I no longer have to be a victim towards the poor choices I made as a young adult. Like, I can write myself a ticket for a fresh start. I didn't need a religious leader's permission. I didn't need an older family member's permission. I didn't need a confidant's permission. Like, I literally realized I was in control of starting my life from this day forward over, and for the better, for myself and for my family. So that's how my journey started. Now, keeping in mind the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Looking back 8 years ago, I feel as if once I became strong enough mentally and was consistent enough in my practice to mentally overcome harmful thoughts and generational curses and abuse, and to heal myself and to heal my immediate family, I really do feel like once I got to a space where I read all I could read, listened to all I could listen to, did all the prayers I could on a particular thing, and finally got to the space of self-forgiveness, then I feel like spirituality was introduced to me. It just came to me. And literally what happened, just researching things on YouTube, using the YouTube search feature, I went from motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, all the people that I mentioned before, and others, Dr. Michael Beckwith, like all the people I mentioned before, I went from that type of teaching to literally, I feel like I stumbled upon spirituality. And the first level of spirituality I stumbled upon was African spirituality. Learning about the Orishas, learning about ancestor worship and paying homage, learning about what energies flow through me, who I resonate with, who may have been an ancestor. Just learning those different things, the truth about Kemet, learning what the term Ashe means and using it instead of Amen, learning what Amen referenced. And that curiosity made me go pull up old cartoons like the X-Men and watch the dynamics there. It made me go rewatch certain movies. Of course, I can't call any to mind right now, but it made me go and rewatch certain movies that had an element of mysticism or that had direct characters that portrayed African gods and goddesses. And one of the biggest movies that had a hugest impact on me was the movie series Hidden Colors, I believe it's called. And at the time I watched it, there was only 2 volumes available and 3 was on its way out. And I never got to see 3. And I think a 4 came out. Or did I see 3? This is so long ago. But Hidden Colors made me angry. But it also educated me and opened my eyes to a lot of the false narratives that were being repeated for generations about black men and black women and our power or lack thereof, as they would like to say, and how many gifts and beliefs and practices were stolen from us and how powerful we are. So that movie really opened my eyes to, wow, I'm very powerful. All of the narratives that I was told inside of my family, from boyfriends, from superiors, like at work, all the narratives I was told about me is a lie. And then it made me think, do they know that they've been lied to? Do they know that they're perpetuating the lie about the black woman, about the black man? Do they know if they're feeding into the stereotype? So after I got done being angry after watching the first Hidden Colors, and I checked my energy and I said, this is just part of the process, then I went to the library and was ordering more copies to borrow because they never had it in stock, so I always had to wait for it to come in. But I remember learning so many truths about the Statue of Liberty, truths about slavery, just so many truths. And now that I'm thinking about it in this video, I think I'm going to watch it again. It's been 8 years later. I'm more mature on my walk. I'm more mature physically, mentally, emotionally. So I think I want to see those movies again. My children are older. I may show it to them. But I think that I do want to watch those movies again. So I'm making a mental note of that. But those were very impactful movies that I wasn't prepared for the dose of reality that was presented in them. Oh, and let me tell you this about me. Can't nobody just tell me anything. Whether in person, whether in a book, whether in a movie, you can't just come and tell me anything. I'm going to nod and agree while you're telling me and make mental notes. Sometimes I might make physical notes, and then I'm going to go and research on my own. Whether it's more books, more videos, whether it's the internet, whether I'm asking someone who's in the field, I'm going to go and research on my own. So once I was able to see and match up a lot of the truths that mattered to me from the video, I was like, oh man. But here's the thing about your spiritual journey and awakening. Once you know the truth, you would be hard pressed to try to go back and believe anything. And anything else that was a lie. And something that I encourage you on your journey is, once you start learning these truths, don't be so quick to become radical and force them down people's throats and tell them and call them out on their BS and tell them they're lying and you believe in a white man and that doesn't go over well. You want to be believable, you want to be a guide, you want to walk into your spiritual gifts, and you do that out of love, and you do that by being of service. So that is something that I wasn't told when I began my journey. So I was a little gung-ho. I wasn't radical, but I was gung-ho about some stuff did you know this? And did you know that? So that's something that I will encourage for those of you who are new on this path, is to get to a point early and understand and respect that every one of us, no matter the age, the background, the race, the religious affiliation at the time. Like, we all have the power of choice. And once you elevate to a space of self-love, then that means you show and demonstrate love to those around you, which is also in support and a example of great mental health. But once you're able to do that, you are able to respect the decisions that other people make for their lives. So you don't beat them over the head with lessons. You don't choke out of them the badness, quote unquote. Like, you don't do that. You just respect the space that every person is in life. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy, especially when it comes to people you care about or people that you love or people that you just want to slap sometime and tell them, wake up from the fog. Don't be a sheep no more. Even those people, we have to express love to and respect where they are. The biggest way to win them over is by our example, by how we think, by how we speak, by how we behave, by the practices that we do consistently. That's the biggest way to win a loved one over. And believe you me, it's going to take time. It's going to take patience, and it's going to take consistent elevation on your part to not allow yourself to be affected or pulled into their rabbit hole of chaos, lower level thinking, lower level behavior. But that's a total other video for a later time. I just wanted to share that my spiritual journey started first from all the writers that I mentioned, the motivational speakers that I mentioned, and then it just seems like I stumbled upon African spirituality because I didn't know to look for it. But I think based upon my YouTube searches and me looking at things and learning about real magic and alchemy, I think the videos just popped up. And then from there, I was hungry. I was curious. I started implementing certain practices, and there was no turning back. So I just wanted to share that with you and to let you know that when it's a natural transition, when it's something that's not forced, when it's something that you're not beaten over the brow with, you better do this, you better learn this, the black man, the black woman, it's an easier transition that will last for a long time because it's something that you naturally did, that you gravitated towards. So again, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. In my next video, I will share more with you about my actual spiritual journey, the things that benefited me, such as certain practices that benefited me. But first, before I dived into practices, I became a sponge to learn as much as I could. Now, do I remember everything now 8 years later? Absolutely not. Because I was building a foundation, right? So I may not be able to repeat all the gods and goddesses or what my ancestors did back in ancient Egypt or what color. I can't repeat all of that to you. What I do know is that I built a foundation solid enough for me that if someone from my past or someone from my present challenged me with certain dogma that I no longer subscribe to, that number one, I wouldn't get upset and I wouldn't feel challenged. Because again, practicing self-love, genuine self-love, allows me to love that person who don't believe what I believe, and because I love them, I don't need to cut them down with my words. I don't need to shame them because they practice something I don't believe in. So the biggest way to win people over again is by example. So if I don't want to be judged and shunned because I no longer subscribe to this particular belief, then I'm going to show you that I'm not going to judge you because you choose to subscribe about this particular belief. And then on my petty side, you get the upper hand. Because as soon as that person tries to judge you or shun you or preach you down, you calmly and politely say, I'm not even a part of this XYZ, but I'm not judging you. I'm not browbeating you. I'm not making you feel bad. So between the two of us, who's being more Christ-like in this very moment? And then just be quiet. Like, I know that's a petty response, but I've had to use that response in my earlier years. Now that I'm 8 years in, now that I'm 40 years old, now that I'm more grounded and solid, I don't get tested as much today. But on my early times, yes, I was tested. I believe the universe tested me to help me make sure that I was about this life, that this is the path I wanted to take me and my family on. And going into 8 years later, Yeah, it was the right move. So again, I'm always going to tell you, if you are new to this path, if you are new to spirituality, if you have all these questions and confusion and anger, you're not going crazy. You're on the right path. It's just helpful if you have a group or community of people around you that can understand, or a resource that you can go to. And that's why I created the Conscious Queens on the Rise intimate coaching program. It's a group coaching program, but I created it because I wanted a group of like-minded women to come together and talk about this journey. I didn't want them to get together and bash the church, or bash their mom, or bash their dad, or bash religion, or no, that's not what this is for. We're cultivating a space of love, a space of encouragement, a space of understanding, and a space of truth. So with that being said, the conversations that we have during these programs are all based upon those 4 elements. So we're learning how to be more loving, more forgiving, more understanding. And not just on the surface. Like, we're learning to genuinely move that way internally. So you can go to my website, www.coachvmp.com, to see the dates for the program, to see the cost, to sign up, to tell your sister friends. But yeah, Conscious Queens on the Rise is going to be big. I'm going to say it here in this video. I'm going to put my all into it, simply because I remember first re-entering consciousness and how scary it was and how angry. And I remember the crying that I did. And I remember thinking while I'm crying, am I losing my mind? Like, I remember thinking that. But that's how you feel when you're unlearning a lifetime of false narratives, about yourself, about your history, about your ancestors, about the world around you, about your future. Like, it's a painful process. And I just want to position myself to help those ladies who are looking for help. So, okay, this video went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's okay. I will see y'all in the next video when I dive a little bit deeper into the practices that I dabbled with at first, how I learned about meditation, how awkward it was for me to first meditate, and how I eventually got the hang of it. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so that you're one of the first persons to know when I upload new content. I'm learning that when you click the notification bell, don't let it sound personalized. Put it on all so that you are actually for real notified when I upload a new video. If this content resonates with someone close to you, like a family member or a friend, please feel free to direct them to my channel, to share this video with them. I want to help as many people as possible elevate on this spiritual journey. My channel is completely dedicated to all things mental health and healing without medication. So this particular playlist is me sharing with you how my spiritual journey had the most tremendous impact on me taking charge of my mental health without medication. Alright, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. That's it for today. I got to go finish dinner. Y'all probably heard the stove beeping a little bit ago, so that means my baked chicken is done. So I got to go whip these sides together and feed my family. And I will see y'all in the next video. Be blessed.